Hello everyone, how is your first week of the summer vacation? I hope you enjoy your very first week of your summertime. And I think for this time, most of you did a good job on the reading tests of the English magazine. So here I'll just pick out some questions or some parts probably most people couldn't get it. And I'll just elaborate on those parts a little bit. So let's take a quick look at the very first one of week one. So for week one, let's take a look at the reading comprehension. So for question number 16, here the question is, what are the main indoor pollutants and allergens mentioned in the passage? And this one is a little bit difficult because here it mentions that we have certain kind of things that probably you have indoor. So like for the very first ones, we have other things that people commonly have in their homes can also affect the air quality. And these include materials such as cleaning products, paint, air fresheners, and the glue that is used to hold furniture together. So in terms of the materials like clean products, 就一些清洁用品 paint, air fresheners, 一些空气清洁东西 and glue as well. So these we call them a certain kind of chemical pollutants, 一些化学的一些污染物. And the other part, which is still other factors that can be an issue, are mold and dust. And here we call something biological. That is because mold, which is 霉菌, so there'll be something biological, okay, biological contaminants. So that's why for clean products, paint, air fresheners, and the glue, there'll be something about chemical pollutants. And for the part of mold, there'll be something like biological contaminants. So that's why for question 16, we'll choose A. And then we'll move on to number 18. So what can we infer from the passage? Firstly, let's take a look at option choice A. So here it says, going outside is taking a toll on people's health. So the key phrase we have here is take a toll on, which means you harm someone or you hurt someone. There'll be take a toll on, which means 伤害 or 损害. And let's take a look at the very first sentence we have here. It says, the air quality in your home can be worse than the air quality outside. So as we know, here we want to highlight the parts that air quality in your home can be worse than the air quality outside, which means air quality in your home is worse. 所以就是在家里面的空气会比较不好. So that's why we will not choose A, going outside, but we'll choose B. People generally think that indoor air is better than outdoor air. So that's because in the beginning it says, believe it or not, 不管你相不相信. So in other words, which means people generally think that indoor air is better than outdoor air, but actually it is not. And for C, poor indoor air quality is the leading factor of mortality worldwide. So mortality is from the word mortality, which means the death rate, 就所谓的死亡率. But here we just mentioned like, let's take a look at the part of the second paragraph here. It says, the overall effect on people's health can contribute to asthma, heart disease, and even certain forms of cancers. So here we didn't mention anything about mortality worldwide, but talks about certain kind of disease we have. And for the last one, there are more women diagnosed with lung cancer each year than men. But here we didn't see any kind of comparison between men and women. So that's why for this part, there will be something not mentioned. So that's why we will choose B, which will be the best answer in this part. All right, and then we can move on to week 2. So for week 2 here is about the history of poker. So we can take a look at question or the blank number 14 we have here. As poker made its way around the continent, the rules slowly evolved. So which means we have certain kind of new rules 有一些新的规则。A deck of 52 cards was introduced. So introduce 这边可能是当介绍或者带来或是引进的意思。So which means there'll be something new, alright? So again, in the end, it says two of these new hands were the flush and the straight. So that's why in this case when it says new permit 这边可以当允许的意思，那 permit 这字本身可以当动词或者是名词，那这边是当名词 new permit 一个新的允许 which means we allowed new things which were hands. So that's why we say hands emerged. Emerged 的话是出现的意思。So new permit or hands 新的这个两张牌卡，手牌的两张牌卡呢 emerged 就出现了。So that's why in this case we say new permit 新的允许 alright? So that's why this one will be better because we have rules slowly involved and something was introduced and two of these new hands, also the keyword new hands as well. So that's why permit will be the best answer right here. Alright? And for the discourse analysis we have here, for blank number 19, a lot of people choose A. But basically here, we are not talking about scientific experimentation. We are talking about something about history. So that's why for number 19, it will be better for us to choose C because it talks about in ancient Greece, for example, animal bladders were used as balloons. So that's why C would be better. And for number 20, here it says, we have many different applications. Application here means 应用，有不同的应用。So later, they were used by these things and to take weather measurements. So this part will be something more likely to be something about like scientific experimentation. So that's why for number 20, there'll be A because we're talking about different applications, 不同的应用, and also we take weather measurements 去测量气候 alright and then weather should be 天气 alright to take weather measurements 去观察天气有关的测量 alright and then we'll move on to week 3 so for week 3 let's take a look at number 10 we have here after losing 5 games in a row a feeling of disappointment. So losing 5 games, 他输了5个比赛，5场比赛。So that's why we say a feeling of disappointment， 就一个失望感 set in 就会开始了。And move forward, which means just like you move forward, you go forward. So that's why we choose set in, which means begin， 开始有一些失望的感觉。And for number 22 we have here, while doing this may lack any real intellectual stimulation,It makes up for it with plenty of emotional benefits. A lot of people choose even here. But if you really want to choose even here, you have to say even though. Because for even alone, it's not a conjunction. 它并不是一个连接词，只是个副词。So here we need a conjunctions to connect two sentences. Because here, doing this, 这是主词 may lack, there will be the verb.It makes, so it is the subject, and makes here is the verb. So we need a connection and a connector to connect two sentences. So that's why we choose while. So while here means although. Although doing this may lack any real intellectual stimulation, it makes up for it with plenty of emotional benefits. If you want to choose even, you should say even though. Okay, even though.Then for this one, for number 15, so in the end here it mentioned that due to the coronavirus pandemic, travel and study plans have been put on hold. Put on hold, which means stop, 终止的意思. And a lot of people choose bring to life, which is not really really fit into the context here because.A lot of people are living in fear of falling ill, so which means they are not willing to make the plans like this. 因为 coronavirus, 所以大家很怕感染到疾病，所以基本上是不太会有 travel 跟 study plans. So that's why we choose put on hold, 就是终止会比较好一点。And then we'll move on to week 4. So for week 4, for the reading comprehension, we have for number 20. So how do carrots boost people's oral health? Oral 是口中的口腔的，so oral health 就是你口中的健康。So that's why we had to find the keywords, which is about the word teeth, okay, 牙齿. So it will help you to get rid of any